Hey guys, common question I get is people unsure if they can learn how to sing because singing seems, well, there's a kind of a culture or something like that, or a common belief where myth, I would say, where because we see singers that are natural or that are gifted from when they're young or something like that and they can sing, they haven't necessarily had lessons or anything and they can sing really well. We think that only those people are going to be able to get better, or they're just good because they're good. They don't need help at all. And we think that someone that has no experience can't get better. Someone that's maybe they sing, maybe they have experience, but they're not good. If they don't start good, there's something wrong with their voice or their brain. Like, you can't, your voice is just never going to sound nice because that's just the way it's built. And your ear is just never gonna understand what notes are doing because you're too naturally dumb, I guess. You're genetically like not good enough to understand music. This is completely wrong. Okay, it's it's like anything in life. I mean, people have ideas about it, and then it's up to someone to prove it right or wrong. Okay, so maybe it was right. Maybe it was true. People that couldn't sing naturally just couldn't get better, and it's because no one knew how to teach him, probably. Right, because a lot of things in our life, if you think about it, are the way they are because someone had an idea. Someone came up with an idea to make things a different way. Someone came up with the idea to to create cars. Someone came up with the idea to to have transportation other than just walking. They thought, oh, why don't I ride a horse? And then someone came up with an engine or whatever, the things that led up before the engine, even like the wheel or whatever it was. Yeah, singing is the same. Okay, teachers over time have come up with ways to train singers, to train people that don't know how to sing at all, and to train people that are natural or can already do many of the singing. See, a natural, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're amazing. A natural has degrees of how good they are. Okay, maybe they're good at some things, but there's some things that they still can't do. So just because they're natural doesn't mean that they're incredible necessarily. It just means that they're good. But anyway, back to my driving thing, right? So let's say we're going to use a driving analogy. You learn how to drive, all right? I'm guessing you're an adult. And if you're not an adult, you're going to learn how to drive. You're going to do your learning, sort of, your learner's license, we call it here in Australia, where you get an L plate and you pass this test, you study for this test, the book rules, and then you're expected to do 150 hours or something of actual driving with somebody next to you. So you have a teacher next to you the entire time. It can be your parent and they'll be yelling at you, or if you're lucky, there'll be a patient parent. It could be an instructor that your parents hire for you. Okay? So you spend that 100 hours, 150 hours with a person next to you telling you this is right, this is wrong, don't do that. You've already read the book. You should know the rules. You passed the test, right? You passed the first test, the written test. You know the rules. But what is the point of the 150 hours? So that you get practice. And so you're corrected by someone who's more experienced than you. This is really important because driving is not a natural ability. Walking is something we learn how to naturally do. We figure it out. I think it would be instinctual because we figure it out. Speaking is something we learn by ourselves. Babies start to copy what they hear. Babies grow up with parents, parents speak to the baby starts to pick it up. It's instinctual. All humans learn to speak. They don't have to go to school to learn how to speak. Okay? They learn more words and all that kind of stuff at school, but they don't have to go to school to learn how to speak. You don't need special instruction necessarily. Like, you do get instruction from your parents, but we kind of learn it instinctually. your parent maybe encourages you to speak and makes certain sounds in front of you so that you learn the particular language that you grow up in. But you instinctually like try to do it as a child. Same with walking. Children try to walk. They gradually they crawl and they try to walk. Now, driving is not natural, and singing for a lot of us is not natural. We like to sing, but the skill of singing well, it doesn't come naturally to all of us. It's not something you just know. Some people know it; they're the genetically naturals. They will call the naturals, and some don't. Now, what teachers have done is invented a way to teach those that don't. Okay. Can anyone learn? Yes. If you can speak, you can learn. There is no excuse. Zero excuses. I have never met anyone that didn't learn. Never. I've been teaching for about 10 years, not just singing, other things too. But I've come across hundreds of students that I've sat with one-on-one, maybe not for like, because in school you don't get that much time with each individual student, but I've sat with, I did a special teaching kind of method where I would have the class of 25 or whatever, and I would go around and sit with each one over the course of several lessons and try to make sure at least I got like 5 minutes with each person at least, just to test them, to see what I could do, because I love testing like that, right? And that one-on-one time is special, like for the student as well, because they get to see what they're capable of when they get that attention that they need, that one-on-one attention with their voice. So never did I find someone that couldn't improve. Never. No matter how bad they were or how good they were, I always knew. I kept trying to create ways. Every time I'd experience some different level of singer, how do I get this person a bit better than they are right now in a couple minutes? It never failed. I was always able to do it, and this is the teacher's skill. Like, this is what the teacher has to practice. I practiced with hundreds of people to get to the method where I am now, where I can take people no matter where you are. I can make you better. If you are completely out of key and off pitch, it doesn't matter. I know how to train you. I know how to train you to be as good as I am, at least, because I've been through it. I was off pitch, I was off key. I understand what to do. It's not, in theory, it's not that hard. All it is you just correct every note until the person sounds better overall. But it's a lot of work, because a song, when someone sings a song and they sound bad, it's because they're off key, off pitch, no vibrato, can't do runs, don't have volume control, don't pronounce properly, don't place properly, don't have much of a range, can't flip into falsetto, have a break. That's why they sound bad, because of all those things. So in theory, you just got to correct all those things by taking it one note at a time. Okay, that's all it is. It's simply you're just correcting every note and you're slowly learning all those skills that I just mentioned. Pitch, key, vibrato, runs, etc. But it's hard to do. It's very hard to do. It takes a lot of time, because every song contains how many notes? Dozens to hundreds. Dozens to hundreds. Forget words, I'm talking about notes. Every song contains so many notes, and you have to get every note right to be heard as a good singer, to be categorized as someone that can sing. You have to get every note right, or close to right. Great singers get 90 to 100% of the notes right when they perform live or on a CD. If you can't do that, you're deemed as an average to bad singer. Now, the further you are away from that 90 to 100%, the worse you're deemed. Okay? If you're completely out of key for the entire song, doesn't matter how powerful you or loud or how good your vibrato is, if you're off key for the entire song, you're going to be deemed as a bad singer. It's just the way it is. So, can you learn? Can anyone learn? 100% yes. How long does it take? Think about the driving. How long do you have to spend with the instructor? 100 hours, right? 150 hours, I think now it is in Australia. You have to log 150 hours before you can even go for your P's, your provisional license, which is where you get to drive alone. 150 hours with an instructor by your side. Now, can you imagine if you spent 150 hours with me? What would become of your voice if you were sitting with me for 150 hours, let's say over 2 years or something? If you sat with me for 150 hours, I'm not suggesting you need that long with me because you would practice in between. I don't need to be with you when you practice. You know what I mean? So you won't need 150 hours with me. But let's say you spent 50 hours with me, okay? And then you practiced for 150 hours by yourself with the ways that I teach you, using what I've taught you in the 50 hours. What would happen to your voice? What do you think we're going to do? We're just going to chat about the weather or something during the lesson? No, I'm going to be correcting your mistakes and giving you strategies just like the driving instructor does. I'm going to be telling you, you've already learned from the book, right hand turn, stop at the light, pedestrian crossings, how to slow down, how far away to be from other vehicles, distance of vehicles. You learned that from the book, right? But that's not enough. You need the instructor to tell you how to fix the mistakes you make when you try to actually do it in practice. When you try to drive that car in practice, the instructor tells you, you slowed down too late when you came to the traffic light. You're supposed to begin slowing down, begin depressing your foot on the thing 30 meters before. Now, you've already read that in the book, but you couldn't do it properly. Why? Because you make mistakes. You misestimate when you're practicing. Okay, so you thought it was 30 meters, but actually it was only 10 meters. And you're like, oh, but I did. And the instructor's like, no, you did it too late. This is 10 meters, that's 30 meters. Okay, and then there's things that are in the book that aren't exactly in practice. They're not exactly that way, possibly. And the instructor has to teach you that. Then there's the fear and the problems. Oh, I'm scared. Like on the road, there's so many cars. And the instructor has to make it easier for you. Let's go drive in the parking lot. Let's go drive in this quiet street. Let's drive in a slightly busier street. No, let's drive at this time of day. Let's drive on this particular road because you're crap at these right-hand turns on this road. I want you to practice those. Let's go drive there on a quiet time. The instructor does all these things to make you learn how to drive because driving is not natural. You have to learn how to do it. And people over time figured out how to do it. And over time they figured out what's the safest way so we could drive with the least accidents and the least problems. And we're gradually getting better. People still dying on the roads. But we're gradually getting much better. If you look at statistics of death on the roads, you can see that it's going down. Look it up. It's very interesting. So currently about 2,000 people die on the road in Australia because there's still a lot of bad people with egos on the road. And there's still people that need more instruction. There's people that take instruction but don't listen to it. There's accidents from man error, like falling asleep, which is a form of not listening to instruction. There's true accidents like heart attacks and stuff like that while people are driving. So there's still stuff that goes wrong. But what we do is we try to make the best of it, and we upgrade our teaching and our technology, etc., to reflect, to keep improving, right? And that's what we do with singing, and that's what I've done with my program, where I do my certain way of teaching, and my way gets any singer better than they are. So I encourage you to get a lesson and see what it's all about. I encourage you to know that you can learn no matter where you are at. You can learn to get to a professional level. Professional, not a little bit better, professional. You can learn to sing similar to your favorite artists. Close to that level. Within whatever your voice limits are, you're gonna like soar to the best that your voice can get. And that best, you don't know what it's going to sound like until you train it. We don't know. I never thought my voice was going to sound like the way it sounds now. I just thought I'm just going to train and see what happens. I didn't know, am I going to be able to do runs this fast? Am I going to be able to do vibrato that clean? Am I going to be able to sing as nice on pitch as my favorite artist, or as that amazing person that I saw at karaoke, for example? I didn't know. I just thought, I saw these people that are better than me, and I thought, I've got to find a way to train to get better than I am so I can be closer to them. And I did that, and I keep doing it. I'm still doing it, and I'm not going to stop. I don't see myself stopping doing it. I'm just going to keep doing it, because what I've learned is that you don't know what your voice is going to turn out like. All that you know is it's going to be better. That's what you know for sure. With training, it's going to be better. So train and improve. Get a mentor like the driving. If you can learn to drive, you can learn to train. Now, another thing about the driving. When you drive, you learn all the skills for driving, right? But once you learn to drive, you don't need to know where you're going. You can just follow the road, can't you? You can just look on the road and drive, and you'll be a safe driver. You'll be a good driver. Any road. I can put you on any road and say to you, look, I don't really care where you end up today. We're just going to drive around. You're going to drive, right? You're not going to be like, oh, I don't know how to drive on this road. Never. You're going to be like, I know how to drive on any road. I'm fine. If I'm not worried about going on the wrong turns or anything like that, like if I'm not worried about my destination, I'm just cruising. You know how to drive, don't you? That's what my singing lessons give you. They teach you the skill of driving your voice. You can learn how to drive your voice. You're going to learn how to use your voice. It doesn't matter what song you're going to sing. Now, I train with songs because it's more fun. It's more fun than training without songs, with scales, breathing exercises, weird vowels or sounds or stuff like that. It feels disconnected from the goal. So when you drive on particular roads, and you get better at those particular roads, but then you get the crossover effect of being good at any road, right? But you're using a road to drive on. So what I do is, the road is the song, but it doesn't really matter which song you practice, as long as it's challenging for you. And if that song is challenging, that road is challenging, that parking spot is challenging, you're going to be able to park on any other road. You're going to be able to sing any other song that's as challenging as that road that you went on. If it's more challenging, you're not going to be able to do it. That's why I suggest you pick songs that are hard. You pick stuff that's a long-term challenging goal. I want to be able to drive on this highway at peak hour, for example. You know, you pick the hardest goal because you want to aim high, so that you don't encounter songs that are too hard, so that you can be like, oh, I can sing any song that I want to sing because I've learned all the skills for singing from these really hard songs that I chose to learn with my teacher. Okay? Your driving instructor doesn't go, okay, you got good at driving quiet streets. You're okay now, bye. No. They say, okay, we've been driving quiet streets for a few months now. We've done 50 hours there. I think we're ready to move up to a busier street. And then 50 hours later, I think we're ready to move up to the busiest street on a peak hour when it's raining. In the dark. You're moving up gradually in difficulty, right? You don't just do it straight away. You move up gradually. But you can move up gradually in many ways. So you might go on a busy road in the start, but only for a little part of that busy road, and then go off. Okay? So there's many ways to do it. Yeah. I hope that clarifies for you guys. Anyone can learn to sing. Everyone learns to drive because teachers figured out how along the way to teach people. And same way, teachers have figured out how to teach people how to sing. Okay? I figured out how to teach people how to sing no matter what level they are. If you're a better singer than me, I can teach you how to get better than you are, to be like the singers that you want to be like. Because that's what I do as a coach. Think about athletes and stuff. Are the coaches better than the athletes that they're training? Not always. But the coaches know how to get the athletes better than they are. And that's what I can do. Okay? I hope to see you guys soon in a lesson. I'm Rashad from rnbsinginglessons.com. I hope you enjoyed this talk. I really enjoy teaching you guys this kind of stuff because I feel like I want to break the myths that people can't learn to sing. Anyone can learn. I know how to do it. Let's do it together.